I'm going to be with you on to host the 5th edition of Cargo Connections Conclave 2025, jointly organized by Federation of Indian Export Organization and India Seatrade, with the theme Scaling Up Coimbatore's Multi-Modal Logistics Efficiency. This is the theme on which all our discussions, deliberations, and debates today have been designed. And we're about to begin this. The previous editions were the first and the second edition held right here in Coimbatore, the third one in Mangalore, and the fourth one in Madurai. Coimbatore has no parallel among industrial hubs in the country, and we all know that. Tamil Nadu's second highest revenue yielding district after Chennai, Coimbatore boasts a diverse manufacturing base, making anything from auto components and textiles to motor pumps, making it a large sourcing point for buyers. Nicknamed the Manchester of South India for its cotton fields that feeds the flourishing textile industry, and the pump city due to the presence of a large number of pump makers who have set shop here, Coimbatore is a thriving manufacturing hub. Coimbatore also exports software, jewelry, and poultry. It has diversified the economy to cater to the information technology industry through a skilled labor pool and special economic zones, attracting IT majors and technology service providers as well. But it is the auto component makers, many of whom are original equipment manufacturers to multinational brands, that gives Coimbatore that special aura that it has. Local automobile manufacturing giants such as Tata Motors and Suzuki Motors sources as much as 30% of their parts here from Coimbatore. The industrial city hosts more than 17% of India's textile mills, while at least half of India's motors and pumps are supplied by Coimbatore. Given this vibrant manufacturing base, Coimbatore generates a lot of cargo, not just for domestic use, but for exports as well. Trade in Coimbatore mostly patronize Cochin Port and Tuticorin Port for sending or receiving cargo, given its proximity to the industrial hub. The industrial city is also home to many logistics service providers, freight forwarders, custom house agents, warehouses, and what-not. But is the logistics sector matching up to Coimbatore's famed manufacturing prowess to help improve its competitiveness both within India and in overseas markets? What are the bottlenecks impeding Coimbatore's march towards an even bigger supplier of industrial goods? Let's hope to find answers to all these questions today. Hope this conclave will voice the concerns of trade and industry and arrive at feasible suggestions and recommendations. Ladies and gentlemen, today's conclave will voice the concerns of the trade and industry and also consists of 3 focused and highly structured sessions, which we hope will be very interactive with the active participation of our audience and a really vibrant Q&A session. Session 1 will be on logistics as an enabler of Coimbatore's competitiveness in domestic and global markets. Session 2 will be on building robust and resilient infrastructure for Coimbatore's exporters. And session 3 will be on envisioning Coimbatore as an industrial corridor. India's Seatrade and FIEO are highly indebted to all those trade bodies and associations for supporting this initiative, without which we would not be able to gather here today. We extend our sincere thanks to our esteemed sponsors, MPRS Shipping and Logistics, Indian Oil Corporation, Win Asia Maritime, Chennai Port Authority, VOC Port Authority, Glotis, Hub and Links Logistics, St. John Freight Systems, Triway Group, Seven Seas Global Express Logistics, Tripath Logistics, Dakshin Bharat Gateway Terminal, Chakyat Agencies, JM Baxi Ports and Terminal, Glow Shipping and Logistics, Team Global Logistics, TriStar Logistics, APPL Containers, Shri Shipping Services, Fumigation Services, and Royal Tech Solutions. With that, ladies and gentlemen, let's begin today's conclave. I would like to take the opportunity to invite our beloved chairman, Mr. K. Mohandas, to welcome the audience here. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome him with a large round of applause. He was Secretary to Ministry of Ports, Shipping and Waterways, Government of India. He is an IAS officer of 1974 batch of Kerala cadre. His major postings include Secretary to Government of India, Ministry of Shipping and Ministry of Overseas Indian Affairs, Additional Secretary, Revenue, Ministry of Finance, and Principal Secretary to Government of Kerala for Industries, Education, Collector of Kottayam District, Kerala, and several other departments. Ladies and gentlemen, with a loud round of applause, let's welcome our beloved Chairman, Mr. K. Mohandas, for the welcome address today. Over to you, sir.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks, Deepa, for the great introduction. Unfortunately, such introductions create expectations. And I'm not a bundle of energy at this age. Deepa could, of course, present herself as a bundle of energy. She is. But a few years into retirement, I cannot be that dynamic or energetic. Well, friends, we are discussing Coimbatore today. And Coimbatore is definitely worth discussing because of the reasons which were given in the introduction. It's a unique city with a very, very wonderful industrial climate, an industrial culture which has been there over the years and which continues to grow in spite of, problems everywhere else in the neighborhood. Coimbatore has been doing extremely well as a manufacturer not only for local consumption, for domestic consumption, but for the entire world. It's a great honor. In fact, I have seen, I've been to some of the greatest, the biggest, most reputed auto manufacturers' units in units abroad. It's great to see, say, BMW saying that, this component comes from Coimbatore, and like that, it has been a very, very prestigious place. Coimbatore has been a very prestigious place for India as a whole, as one of its most important manufacturing hubs. So that's why when this Cargo Connections Conclave takes place here, the focus is on Coimbatore. As was mentioned, the sessions, the first session would be about logistics as an enabler of Coimbatore's competitiveness in domestic and global markets. And the second would be building a robust and resilient infrastructure for Coimbatore's exporters. Both are very, very important. And the plenary session would be more of a sort of policy session where primarily it would be government functionaries who would be addressing. So with this structure, when we are looking at the logistics as an enabler for Coimbatore and infrastructure, definitely we don't look at it in isolation. Coimbatore doesn't work as an island. It is serving the whole world. And obviously, the fortunes of Coimbatore depend on whatever is happening elsewhere. We all know that the year 2025 has started with a difference as far as global issues are concerned. One person has been able to make a big difference, Mr. Donald Trump, the President of the United States. He is coming out with several policies and actions which are unprecedented, and there are several other actions which are normal, which have been done in the past, which are probably routine, but which are now being highlighted. Like, for example, the deportation of illegal immigrants. This is something which has been happening at all points of time in almost all parts of the world. we have hundreds of people being repatriated by the Gulf countries. We have a history of sending back of illegal immigrants from the United States in the past also, not the first time. But then the manner in which the US is now executing this deportation is very, very different. We probably see it as an insult to humanity, because a civilized country do like this to ordinary people? But then these ordinary people are no ordinary people. They are identified as criminals because of illegal migration, because they are not expected to go to another country illegally. And when they are caught, there is a crime, and the administration has to deal with them accordingly. So there are different ways of looking at the same issue. But then the whole point I was trying to make is that US is now making things different. And for India, it's very, very critical, because US is one of our most important trade partners. Unlike our biggest trading partner, from whom we import, primarily we import, and the trade deficit is very high. The US is a very, very positive export market as far as India is concerned. Whether it be pharmaceuticals or software, I think our biggest export would be software. Then, of course, there are various other goods, all types of goods which are going into the United States markets. And this is something which is of concern, because if there is a policy decision by the US which affects the trade with India, it's definitely going to affect us. And we don't know what it is going to be, because unpredictable, it's as unpredictable as Trump himself. With the tariffs imposed on the neighbors, Mexico, Canada, and this 10% on China, it means that if India is seen as a not so friendly trade partner, we could also expect surprises, because although we consider ourselves friendly, the new US government has never said that Indian tariff, the Indian systems, Indian regulations, Indian tariff rates, they have not spoken positively about these things. So we could expect anything that could happen, that could come out. Business is probably, it's required to be ready to face any such uncertainty that would come up. And I'm sure in the Indian industry, the Indian government, we are all aware of all these issues that might come up. And I'm sure we have our plan B ready for whatever situations come up. In India, of course, the most recent development has been the presentation of the budget by the government. And in the budget, the government has rightly focused on some of the most important things. Again, infrastructure, digital and physical, have been given a very, very high priority, because that development, infrastructure development, is crucial for the development of the India as a major economy. So that's that focus on infrastructure is something, one of the most positive aspects in the budget that has come up. And as part of that, the PM Gati Shakti, which is the national multi-modal connecting plan, so that again is given a very, very special significance, and that will facilitate the improvement of the infrastructure, identification of the gaps in infrastructure, and overall facilitation of trade will happen with that. The logistics sector, we would definitely be happy to welcome the 250 billion rupee Maritime Development Fund. It's primarily, of course, for shipbuilding and repair industry, in which India has a very nominal role as far as the global data is concerned, because we are not a real big manufacturer of ships. So this is one area where Indian manufacturing can definitely rise up to its potential. We were in the past, historical past, not in the recent past. In the historical past, we were great in shipbuilding and providing vessels to the world. Now, there is a long way to go now as far as that is concerned. Then, of course, the economic survey which came out just on the previous day before the budget, they have also identified the various challenges that might come up. Those challenges are the challenges which the industry will have to be prepared to face, because these challenges include the various geopolitical tensions, because the Middle East is very, very close to India, in the middle of our route to Europe and US. So definitely the geopolitical tensions anywhere is important. The Middle East is very, very critical for India. Then again, if America focuses on making America great, that means that there is a sort of an inward-looking thinking, which is probably happening in various other parts of the world as well. If the developed countries start thinking inwards, if they again want to strengthen their manufacturing, which has faltered over the years, then again we have a challenge. China, of course, will have a much bigger challenge, because they are several times bigger than us in manufacturing. India, definitely, if you are looking for that opportunity for manufacturing, when China is weakening, if you are looking for such an opportunity, that opportunity may not really come up if the American and European countries start looking inward. So that's definitely a great challenge that we will have to face. So this will all lead to what's called a global trade slowdown, and we have to be prepared for such challenges as well. And then again, one big change that might come about is about the environment-related regulations. Because this is something which has been adding to the cost of manufacturing. Everything has been becoming costly because of the regulations that are being imposed because of ecological considerations. But then, again, going back to Donald Trump, he probably believes that all this is humbug, and the environment regulations, the Paris Agreement and all are meaningless. So if such a move is there, he has already decided to withdraw from the Paris Agreement, which means that the climate conferences and all that, which impose targets on the various countries, which also provide for assistance from the developed countries to the developing countries. So these will all just go. So in such a situation, we don't know what is in store, because in the interest of the future generations who will be here on this globe, the environmental regulations have to be there. But then, if rulers of countries, major countries, influential countries, decide that these are not very important, we don't know what its impact is going to be, but then this is something which we'll have to wait and see. And then again, every time we talk about logistics costs, and these logistics costs have to be brought down in our country. And we all know, because our rail systems, for example, rail infrastructure is fairly strong, maybe not good enough, fairly strong. But then, because of the cross-subsidization between passenger and goods movements, there are cost issues. Costs could be brought down if there is a sort of a realistic and pragmatic approach in all these matters. So friends, this is the environment in which we would be working in the coming days. There are uncertainties, there are risks, and there are real big challenges that might come up, unexpected challenges that might come up. But then I'm sure that we are all equipped to face the challenges that might come up. So now, this is I was just presenting a macro picture. Now, of course, in the sessions that are to follow, we will be probably focusing on the details, because we have all experts here, people who have a lot of knowledge, experience, and who have their own ideas about what should be done. So I'm sure everybody here would benefit from the various discussions, the various presentations, and it would be very, very useful if there are inputs coming in from the audience as well, although the time for that may be limited if the sessions take too long. Well, with this, I would like to conclude by my primary task was the welcome address. So I'm extremely happy to welcome all those from places other than Coimbatore. I welcome all of them to Coimbatore and to this meeting. Those from Coimbatore, I'm extremely happy to welcome all of you to this meeting, this conference here, and let us derive the maximum benefit out of this. Welcome again. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for welcoming the gathering and also to for setting the context. We shall move on. To deliver the keynote address, we have with us a personality who has a vast experience in international trade and who has earlier served 2 terms as the national chairman of the Handloom Export Promotion Council under the Ministry of Textiles. During the tenure, he spearheaded international affairs, delegations, and policy advocacy. He currently holds a position as the president, Karur Textile Manufacturers and Exporters Association, Karur, where he drives initiatives like the Textile Trade Center and the development of a textile hub with plug-and-play factories and common facilities. Ladies and gentlemen, I request all of you to give a loud round of applause as we welcome Mr. Gopalakrishnan, Regional Chairman, Federation of Indian Exports Organization and Managing Director of Metro Fabrics Private Limited for the keynote address.
Mr. Mohandas, Chairman, India Seatrade. Mr. Krishnan, FIEO, other speakers who are going to speak in the later sessions, the delegates, very good afternoon to everyone. It is indeed a privilege and an honor to be here today to address all of you at the Cargo Connection Conclave in the vibrant city of Coimbatore, a city renowned for its entrepreneurial spirit, industrial prowess, and strategic importance in South India's logistics ecosystem. Today's conclave presents a crucial platform to deliberate on the future of cargo logistics and supply chain management in this rapidly evolving landscape. As we gather here, it is essential to recognize the transformative role that Coimbatore plays as a strategic node for industrial growth and cargo movement. The city's proximity to major highways, railway networks, and airports makes it an attractive location for the development of integrated logistics solutions, warehousing facilities, and cargo handling operations. With the emergence of dedicated freight corridors and the expansion of industrial parks, Coimbatore is well on its way to becoming a key link in India's logistics network. The logistics sector is undergoing a rapid transformation driven by technological advancements, changing consumer demands, and the rise of e-commerce. Some key trends shaping the industry include digitization and automation. Technologies such as AI, IoT, and the blockchain are streamlining supply chain operations, enhancing efficiency and reducing costs. Sustainability initiatives, green logistics, and carbon neutral solutions are gaining prominence as companies strive to reduce their environmental footprint. Integrated logistics parks, multi-modal logistics hubs are emerging as one-stop solution for warehousing, cargo handling, and transportation. The Union Budget announced on 1st February 2025 identified infrastructure as the key multiplier of economic growth, along with measures for widening of the PPP approach to infrastructure development across sectors, shows the commitment of the government to broadening and deepening investment in this sector. In a note to the fact that states are key stakeholders when it comes to infrastructure development, the budget proposes that states will also be encouraged to add projects that can be taken up under this approach. Ultimately, the quality of infrastructure will be key to India achieving its desired development. To truly unlock the potential of Coimbatore as a logistic powerhouse, collaboration between the public and private sector is essential. Key focus areas include investment in digital infrastructure, adoption of smart technologies for cargo tracking and supply chain visibility, enhanced warehousing facilities, development of state-of-the-art warehousing clusters to cater to diverse industries, skill development, training programs to equip the workforce with the necessary skills to manage advanced logistics operations, and sustainable practices like encouraging the adoption of green logistics solutions, including electric vehicles and solar-powered warehouses. The cargo and logistics sector stands at the cusp of a new era, one defined by innovation, collaboration, and sustainability. Coimbatore is uniquely positioned to lead this transformation thanks to its strategic advantages and a strong industrial ecosystem. We also need to discuss resilient infrastructure, which is crucial for export competitiveness by preparing to handle unforeseen events such as natural disasters and supply chain shocks. We also need more logistic providers with AEO certification, ensure security, faster and predictable delivery with competitive pricing. This should be supported by smoother custom clearance. Logistic providers also need to focus eco-friendly practices on reducing environmental impact throughout the supply chain from production to export delivery. Let us use this conclave as an opportunity to engage ideas, exchange ideas, forge partnerships, and pave the way for a more efficient, resilient, and sustainable logistic landscape. On behalf of FIEO and India Seatrade, I wish Cargo Connexions Conclave a great success. I wish you all the best and thank you very much.
Thank you, Gopalakrishnan sir, for your keynote address. So, ladies and gentlemen, once again, I welcome all of you to the 4th edition of Cargo Connexions Conclave. Welcome to Cargo Connexions Conclave 2025, presented by MPRS Shipping and Logistics, powered by Indian Oil Corporation, in association with Win Asia Maritime Private Limited, organized by India Seatrade and FIEO. Welcome once again, and to begin our first session, Shippers' perspective on logistics as an enabler of Coimbatore's competitiveness in domestic and global markets. To debate on this topic, I'd like to invite our dignitaries on stage. These personalities, the gentlemen that are about to walk on the stage, need no long pages of introduction. They are very much familiar, being renowned personalities in the industry. So let's go ahead and welcome them with a loud round of applause. Now, that's not something we can compromise. Let's welcome them one by one. To begin with, I'd like to invite Dr. Selvaraju, Secretary General, South India Mills Association. May I request Dr. Selvaraju to kindly come on stage as part of our first session on Cargo Connections Conclave 2025. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Selvaraju with us. Welcome, sir. Along with him, I'd like to invite our next guest on stage, Mr. N. Thirukkumaran, General Secretary, Tirupur Exports Association and CEO of Esstee Exports Private Limited. Let's welcome him on stage with a loud round of applause. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us. Moving on to our next guest for the day, Mr. Anoop V.K. Shroff, partner, Shroff Textile Exports. Let's welcome him on stage and welcome to Cargo Connections Conclave 2025, Mr. Anoop. We'll move on to our next panelist of the day, Mr. Sendilkumar, Vice President of South India Engineering Manufacturers Association and CEO of Superteck Industries. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Sendilkumar with us. Welcome, sir. Moving on to our next panelist today, Mr. Madhusudhan R, COO, Pricol Logistics Private Limited. Let's give him a loud round of applause as he joins us as a panelist on Cargo Connections Conclave 2025, Mr. Madhusudhan. Moving on to our next panelist, Mr. N. Krishnakumar, Senior Vice President, MSC Agency India Private Limited. Welcome to Cargo Connections Conclave 2025, Mr. N. Krishnakumar. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to welcome the moderator of the session on stage. We have Mr. P. Manoj, Editor in Shipping of ET Infra, here today to moderate the session. Mr. Manoj is a journalist with ET Infra, a digital vertical from the Economic Times, with more than 3 decades spent in various publications, including Mint and the Hindu Business Line. Manoj tracks the maritime sector from policy, regulatory, and corporate perspectives. So we have Mr. Manoj to moderate the session. I welcome you to Cargo Connections Conclave 2025. Let the discussions begin. Over to you, sir.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Deepa. Thanks, India Seatrade, for putting up a great panel for this very important discussion. Logistics and manufacturing go hand in hand. I hope you all agree with that, because the competitiveness of India's manufacturing depends to a large extent on how competitive the logistics is, right? And rightfully, the government has put in place a lot of measures over the past few years to ensure the competitiveness of logistics and also how to promote manufacturing with schemes like PM Gati Shakti, National Logistics Policy, and whatnot. Logistics has been mainstreamed over the past few years. I mean, it was not like this before. So to kick off this very important aspect, let me first bring Dr. Selvaraju, the Secretary General of the South India Mills Association, and ask him, sir, what is the state of play as far as textile mills are concerned vis-a-vis logistics?
At the outset, I would like to thank the organizers and the chairman for providing an opportunity to share some of my thoughts. As far as Coimbatore is concerned, I think, gentlemen, you all know that this is the epicenter, I would say, for textile manufacturing activities originally. And later, remaining industries also came up. And Coimbatore is the largest manufacturing hub in the global map. We may not have such a large cluster or even any part of the world, I would say. And as already mentioned by the chief guest in the introductory remarks, that we are the largest. And as far as textile industry is concerned, though we call it as Manchester of South India, it is South India, I mean, so Manchester, you don't have any textile industry. Mumbai is called as Manchester of India, there again you don't have. But Coimbatore, if you take though we have several other states like Gujarat or Maharashtra, which are again very big in textile manufacturing activities. In terms of spinning capacity, if you take, we have close to 7.5 million spindles in one district, which even combined Maharashtra and Gujarat, they don't have. And Coimbatore as epicenter, if you take 100 kilometers from here, more than 90% of the textile manufacturing activities are happening in this Congo belt, what we call. And mostly, even one point of time, we were accounting a major portion of exports as well as imports. Even today, we account close to 20-22% of the total exports of the nation. So that is the potential. I'm talking about only textiles. And if you include pumps and other things, it is very huge. Even fabric, for example, even apart from exports, we source large volume of cotton from Gujarat, Maharashtra, Telangana state. And Gujarat alone, more than 60% of the cotton grown in Gujarat is sold in Tamil Nadu. And they all routed through Thirukkumaran port. Now, in fact, couple of years back, we were with road transport only. Some 7-8 years back, then we explored the possibilities. We had a negotiation with INSA and all, and Ministry of Shipping also helped us. DG Shipping helped us. Thirukkumaran Port helped us to bring down the cost drastically. We introduced the concept called return leg also. The prior to that, there was no return leg available. Now we are getting cotton from Gujarat, and we are same container is used to take back fabrics, yarn to different parts of the country. So that has substantially reduced our cost. But still, if you look at the foreign flag vessel rate and our flag vessel rate, we are very much on higher side. There again, in fact, we had a discussion and we got the furnace oil used by the ships exempted from central excise long back. And even the major ports, handling charges, we could get some discount. That's how we made it attractive for especially mills in this region to bring cotton. Now cotton is produced in 3-4 months only. It comes to the market between November to March middle. And over 60-70% of the cotton is purchased during this time. So definitely we need more containers, more facilities during this. Now it is a peak season, I would say, even now. And so that is one thing which I wanted to mention. And again, in terms of fabric, again, if you take per day close to 270 to 300 truck loads of fabrics are going to upcountry and get dyed and printed and come back again here. So this is another potential we have. And again, machinery, spinning machinery, if you take, we have LMW here, and more than 80% of the textile spares, accessories, manufacturing facilities is located in Coimbatore. And it goes for the whole country and even to the world. We are the major supplier in terms of spares, accessories also. And remaining thing, Tirupur, we account close to 60 to 70% of the, knitted garments. So that again, almost 2/3 goes for export, 1/3, close to 35,000 crores is the volume of export we do from Tirupur. And the domestic market maybe another 20-25,000 crores. And Mr. Gopalakrishnan is here. Karur is another very big cluster, where again they are exporting to the tune of 6,000 to 7,000 crores. And domestic market again they are doing around close to 7,000-8,000 crores, another volume. So we have tremendous potential. That's why we have been urging the central government as well as state government to improve the infrastructure, whether it is road or train, which is in my opinion inadequate for the capacity what we have here. We do face problems with the containers and the trucks. For example, suddenly last 2 months, return leg is not allowed, permitted by the customs. So this is this has steeply increased our cost. 20-25,000 rupees is additional cost which is coming. two things we'll have to keep in mind. One is cost, another one is lead time. So globally, we are struggling with the tariff barriers and also non-tariff barriers. And in addition, if the logistics cost is a key element in our competitiveness. So this is the area where we'll have to look into. So probably going forward, I'll give some of the
So yeah,
points.
cost is an important element that you have to look into. Let me bring in Mr. Thirukkumaran into this conversation. Tirupur Exporters Association General Secretary. Given that there is so much of competition in the textile sector from other countries as well. So how important is logistics and how you are able to deal with it to reduce your costs and stay competitive?
Good afternoon, everyone. First of all, I'd like to thank FIO and India Seatrade for inviting me as a panelist. Just first, I'd like to introduce Tirupur cluster, how we are prepared for then I will come to your logistics question, how it plays an important role. Tirupur, as already informed by Dr. Selvaraju, is the only cluster in the world where environmental social governance is followed. There's no other cluster in the world. I can proudly say that we are ready for any CBAM or any European norms or any norms which are coming into place. We are ready for that. I think a lot of certification agencies are in queue with us wanting to certify for the digital product passport. There's the only industry, I think, in India which is ready for the digital product passport. So
that acts a notch of competitiveness to you, whatever you are making?
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Adding to that, as I said, we recycle and reuse 96% of water. That's around 130 million liters of water is recycled and 96% is reused. So we are not depleting the mother nature. So that is 50% of Tamil Nadu's water needs on a day. So we are not, that's one great thing which we are doing for the environment. And as a cluster, we produce 1,950 megawatts of renewable energy, both wind and solar. And only 350 megawatts is being consumed by the cluster. Rest is given to the Tamil Nadu grid, and our entire district is around 650 megawatts. So, and after that, also on the environment, I'm talking only on the environment, apart from social activities. So, we have planted, as a cluster, we have planted around 2.2 million trees in the last 7 years, which is with a survival rate of 90%, which has completely changed the biodiversity of the region. So, and also we have distilled and cleaned around 12 lakes, out of which in 2022, one lake named Nanjurayan Lake is being announced as the 17th bird sanctuary of Tamil Nadu by the Tamil Nadu government. So you imagine in a bird sanctuary in industrial town, how much we give. So coming to the logistic part, logistic plays a very crucial role in our, as you said, even though we have the advantages we don't have a free trade agreement yet with like what our competitors enjoy, like with Europe or with UK. So we are just urging the government for a free trade agreement where we can be very competitive so that we have a level playing field. Again, when you compare Bangladesh, when I name it, so it's already 25-30% their currency is depreciated. No one knows that, I think. Whereas their currency is at the moment 130 rupees, 130 takas against the dollar. Ours is 86. So there itself you don't have a level playing field. And apart from that, you have a 9.6% duty, import duty for Europe. So there is no level playing field. Here, logistics becomes a very crucial player. So the last 1 year, I think, especially after 1.5 years after the Israel-Hamas conflict, I think the logistic is taken us for a ride. So, I have a data with me. I just bought a data to inform you the logistic, how the containers are being for example, I'm talking Tuticorin, which is the nearest port for us. In September, a 40-foot container was around $5,500. In October, it was 4,000. In November, it was 3,500, and December 2,500, and January it went up by 2,900. Then how do you quote a price? We quote prices 6 months in advance to our customer. So whatever the balance is, see, there are many work on CIF and DDP. So there where if it's an FOB, you have the pressure, because there is another pressure is also you don't have a direct vessel. You are at mercy of Colombo port. So there are a lot of rollovers. So even Tuticorin had Cochin had a direct vessel till January. It's been called off from 1st of February. So we urge the government to bring in more direct vessels, either from Tuticorin or Cochin. It's both our nearest ports for us. And also also reliability on the connectivity, because even in Cochin, when liners were calling, there were frequent missed sailings from so they would miss Cochin port, because Indian ports are easy to miss, but they never miss Colombo or Singapore or Shanghai or Shenzhen. All these ports are never missed, but Indian ports are easy to miss, and this adds a lot of pressure on us. Being an export market and a time-bound market, see, we are not catering to a domestic. We are earning foreign exchange to the country, but we have to be facilitated with ease of doing business. That's where logistics plays an important role. And another thing I like to add, that most of the forwarders are all nominated forwarders. The charges are exorbitant. They don't have a fixed charge. See, for example, I have one forwarder in my company. If you don't give the cargo at so and so cutoff time, you get charged at $125 per PO. So which is ridiculous, according to me. I'm sorry to say this, but it's actually putting pressure on us. But when you pay that $125 per PO, if I have 5 POs, I have to pay $600 odd. My cargo gets connected. I don't know how is it. How is it possible? So I would request all the freight forwarders and CHAs to show mercy on exports, people like us, because we are. And another thing, what I forgot to tell you, 95% of exporters from our cluster are MSMEs, real MSMEs. So why our cluster is also successful is we complement each other with competition. So there are a lot of standalone units who are doing printing, dyeing. So we, as a cluster, we complement. We have grown. It's a self-made cluster. It's all self-made cluster. So I would request all the people from the logistics to support us and help us grow. At the moment, we have set a target of 24-25 at 40,000 crores. But we are aiming at double-digit growth every year. For that, logistics plays a very, very crucial role. I just like to request all the logistic people involved in the logistic to help us. Thank you very much.
Appreciate your honesty on all those points. I mean, you've been brutally honest about it. One thing that so you said that Indian ports are easy to miss, because nobody can afford to miss Colombo. Mr. Krishnakumar, is a telling commentary on, how people like you operate. I mean, is that a realistic situation that Indian ports are easy to miss? And they don't have adequate connectivity and the sailings and all that. How do you look at it? I mean, being the world's largest container ship operator.
Good afternoon. I thank the organizers, India Seatrade, for setting up this very good opportunity for service providers like us to interact with actual cargo owners and hear their challenges and concerns. And it also gives us an opportunity to try and explain, not that it is not aware, but just make another attempt to share our thoughts and ideas as what are the constraints, how as a shipping company, as an international shipping company, we fit into a global setup, right? So however much we talk about Coimbatore, we also have to understand when we do international trade, we fit into the supply chain of the global network. So it has its own challenges and constraints. The increased awareness will help us to make some forward plans so that we could limit some of the issues that you had elaborated. Just before I address that, just a quick introduction about MSC. My company is a Mediterranean shipping company. Interestingly, like this place is landlocked, and we are talking about maritime and shipping. I come from a company with headquarters in Geneva, Switzerland, right? So trust me when I tell you, we know a thing or two how to work with micro markets which are in the hinterland, right? So thanks to customers and the global trade, I humbly submit that we are one of the leading shipping companies in the world in the last 3 years. We operate 850 ships, container ships. We are present in more than 140 countries with 520 ports of call. The thing unique about MSC is that not many people knew us 10 years ago. I'm sure people started recognizing us because we don't make a big advertisement or a splash about who we are. We are a family-oriented company. So our values are slightly different. Even though we are in business, I should say, coming from a place like Coimbatore with very rich family tradition industries that has grown over this period, our company is also a family-based company. We are possibly the only shipping company in the top 20 which is not listed company. And no private equity owns any share of our company. That means one family makes the decision. And normally in family companies, you don't make a decision for immediate time. Most of the family companies think for long periods. So thinking for long periods and strategically working on this industry is something that comes naturally to us. And part of that natural growth is that we have never acquired any shipping company to grow. If you know shipping, and this explains part of the reason why the rates are so volatile, is that it's a highly capital intensive industry, and global business is cyclical. Whenever you are caught in the wrong end, you are left with assets which are underutilized that would cost you a lot of money, and many shipping companies, if they cannot pull through, they have just been acquired by other shipping companies. Just to give you an idea, in 2000, at the start of the millennium, there were at least 16 companies who had more than 2-digit share of the global trade. Today, only 6 companies operate and carry more than 87% of the business. The rest of the companies have all died a natural death through M&A, right? So I'm sure I share your concern in terms of rate volatility, but I could also share many good friends when I started this industry 30 years ago. Talented, competent, hardworking, good men who don't have business tomorrow because the company was acquired and bought. So challenges are part of our business. I'm sure in your DNA, you would find solutions, and you can trust MSC to work with your industry to reduce the challenges that you face. Coming back specifically to this question of, it's easy to miss Indian port, but not a Colombo or Singapore. There are 2 questions. First, let me be a little bit blunt, but I'm not here only to soothe people's ego, but also put the facts as such, right? Colombo is located in such a position that it is very, very important for the Asia-Europe trade. So the number of ships calling Colombo and the cargo that are coming right from Bangladesh to even Pakistan down to Colombo is so huge that one miss would be costly for any company, right? At the same time, I would not say that it is easy to miss Indian ports, because whatever you see that has been missing in Indian ports, the same had happened in other ports as well. We cannot compare an Indian port with a Colombo or a Singapore because these are essentially transshipment ports. Like Exim port, like in India, China also had many port calls which were missed when the cargo is not there. Like for example, in February, it's Chinese New Year's. there are many calls which are missed because the utilization is low. On a positive note, what I wanted to say is, Vizhinjam, the port which should be of interest to this area, right? This has just started officially last week. And as MSC, in the last 4 months, we have operated 140 ships. All these ships used to be operated at Colombo, and I'm very, very happy to say that an Indian port very close to Coimbatore handled 140 ships. And from last week, not just ad hoc vessels, we are starting a regular service from Vizhinjam to Europe and Mediterranean. And soon we will start to more and more locations. So this is a very, very landmark start, because too often we get heard in all these interactions with customers and also with the government that we are spending $300 million of Indian money in foreign ports for transshipments. But let's acknowledge and celebrate even the fact that Vizhinjam is starting with a scheduled service where cargo from here can go to Europe without having to transship via Colombo. So, on the contrary of missing calls, you would find more ships calling Vizhinjam and places like that, which should cater to markets like Coimbatore, right? So, I think that answers the question of, actually on the contrary, more ships will come to places that can cater to these markets like Coimbatore.
Right. That's a very positive thing for you people, right? So that's on the sea side. So let me bring Mr. Madhusudhan, right, into the conversation. And I remember I was talking to you a few days ago, and you were saying that because of lack of connectivity and all that, sometimes you have to truck the container from here to Mundra and JNPT all the way there, right? I remember the conversation.
Yes.
So what is a way out of this? I mean, it's a long distance. I mean, you have nearby ports, and we have good highway that's coming up in the country thanks to Mr. Gadkari. Why do you need to truck the cargo all the way to Mundra or JNPT when you have closer, facilities?
First of all, good afternoon to everyone present here. Thanks to Seatrade and FIO for giving us an opportunity to be a part of this panel and be with the peers of the industry. The question asked is very right, because like how it was told right now, MSC is starting a service from Vizhinjam off late. But if you see Coimbatore being a landlocked destination, we don't have any ports. We have to move, depend on Chennai or Cochin or Tuticorin to move our containers. And the main reason why we try to go right up to Navasheva or Mundra is because we get a direct call. The vessel which is moving out of Navasheva will have a direct sailing into Europe, which helps us to meet our customer demands. Because if I go and load a container, like sir rightfully said, if I move it out of Tuticorin and it goes into Colombo, and if I miss a sailing from Tuticorin, or if there is a congestion in Colombo, indirectly what happens, my products will reach late to my customer. It will affect his production line, and in turn it will lead to line stoppage situations in Europe, which is a huge impact for us, especially in the automobile segment. So what we do is we work out the costing. We see, actually I would say, like off late the roads have improved. The transit time from Coimbatore to Nava is improved a lot. So trucking the goods directly into Navasheva, where we can stuff it in a CFS and move it out of Navasheva, makes sense for us. Yes, it adds on to my cost because of the trucking cost. But ultimately the transit efficiency helps me in meeting to my customers' requirements. Because in automobile segment, even a component is a small component missing out in the production line will result in the line stoppage, and it is a huge impact. So that is why we prefer to go out of Nava or Mundra.
Mr. Sendilkumar, I mean, we have just heard Mr. Madhusudhan say about this trucking. Why can't we use rail? Rail is always, energy efficient, environment friendly and all that. Why is it that, trade in Coimbatore is not resorting to trains, container trains to move the cargo? Is there any problem there?
No, in fact, we are doing it. Good afternoon. I am from SIMA. Thanks for the opportunity given. Here, actually, our members predominantly are motor and pump manufacturers, and more than 65% is micro, around 30% is small, and hardly 2-3% is in medium scale. But still, in the worldwide, if you take the larger corporates, if Europe and US everywhere, we cater them as in their own brand. We supply the products to them. So with that confidence, because in Indian market, the pump and motor industry is pump industry, especially the size of the industry is around 40,000 crores, whereas the world market is 160 billion US dollars. So from SIMA, we have done a major study on this, and we have 2 organizations to support Sitark and Co-India for the infrastructure and research and development. We are now moving into the special products, petrochemicals, slurry pumps, moving the wastewater application, because till now our members were only into the clear water application. Now they have moved into this sewage and for the other industrial application pumps. And our target, even we had given to the government, is almost, there is a scope of Coimbatore pump industry to scale up to the level of, if not to the level of the Tirupur exporters, or at least 50% of them we will be able to touch within a shortest time if we could get the right kind of support. In which naturally logistic is also, because we have made a SWOT analysis. We visited as a delegation to US, we visited Middle East, wherever the Chinese companies are stronger, Chinese brands are doing well. The main one key factor is in China, if a customer asks for an enquiry, quote is being given in say 7 to 8 hours time. Whereas here, particularly while working out the ocean freight, the availability of vessel, availability of the containers, and taking everything, it takes minimum 15 to 20 days to give a quote. So the market is ready to take our product. We are ready with technology. We can match with the pricing and competitiveness. But the main issue is the logistics also becomes a main hurdle in giving this thing. Even during the post-COVID period, most of our members who had a firm order, the export order, we faced a lot of problem because of logistic issues. That is, these things should be taken care. And in rail, yes, in Coimbatore, we have an ICD. There we are doing it, but it is, that is, most of the members had not very much, they did not had a very good experience in loading in ICD. This thing is Coimbatore, as you rightly said, since it is emerging as an good export hub, our request would be, why don't we have a logistic park in Coimbatore, in which, because mostly micro industries are contributing, micro and small industries are contributing to larger extent. And definitely those industries.
You mean to say multi-modal logistics parks?
Yes.
Okay.
That is, the micro and small industries may not have that kind of infrastructure and staff strength to handle everything. So as far as logistic is concerned, once if they reach the logistic park and hand over all the documents, all these things, if everything is being taken care by them, the multifold, because that is not their area of expertise. So it will be a great support for them to take it up, sir.
I think Gayatri would be the right person to talk about it later in the next panel discussion. Mr. Shroff is silently hearing all these, what conversation is going on. As much as, the seaside and, the rails and all that, what is happening on the warehousing and distribution side for your entity? Is there a capacity constraint there? because that also plays an important role, because all of these have to work in unison, right? It has to work as a well-oiled machinery if the cargo has to move smoothly from the point of origin to the point of destination. So how is the land side infrastructure for you?
Good afternoon, and thank you for inviting me. So as far as the infrastructure is concerned for warehousing, the CFSs are well equipped. We don't have, and they're quite quick as far as Tamil Nadu is concerned, and they're also competitive. The main issue that we have from Tamil Nadu is the freight cost, which comes to much higher than compared to Mundra. Even if you're going to places like, say, Colombo or to Bangladesh, to Chittagong, it is logically it should be cheaper from Tamil Nadu to go to these places. But actually Mundra is cheaper. The freight from Mundra is cheaper than the freight from Tuticorin or from Chennai. And sometimes we have found that we take the cargo from here to Mundra by sea, by inland transport, and even then it is cheaper to shift the cargo in Mundra port and then to ship it, and it's also faster. The two main things, for all exporters is today there are a lot of Indian exporters who are able to match quality. The main thing the main issue that we have is regard to the price and the lead time. Both of these are very, very close to the logistics. As far as the question of warehousing is concerned, we deal in textile raw materials, that is yarn. So in yarn, we don't have much of warehousing requirements. To the facilities that are available, we found it to be satisfactory.
Still, if you take it via Mundra or JNP, I mean, it's a long way, right? I mean, so as you talked about lead times, it adds, especially in a situation of Red Sea crisis when vessels themselves are rerouting via the Cape, and that adds to the the voyage, the time and all that. So if you have something nearby, I mean, that's where I think Vizhinjam comes into the picture, Mr. Krishnakumar, where, I mean, if you have, this coastal shipping, better, if it's run smoothly, I think, you can, instead of going all the way to Mundra and JNP, you can, from here you can go to either, I mean, from Tuti, you can take it to Vizhinjam, where mother vessels are in any case calling. I think Vizhinjam is going to be a turning point for people like you,
this is
right?
New. Yes, this is new, and we have to see how many mother vessels are coming over here and how long they are continuing. When Mundra started, there were hardly any mother vessels that were coming there, and we were still using JNPT as a primary port. But the way it has grown and the service and the speed and the cost of it's really tremendous. And I would really hope that Vizhinjam port over here is able to catch up to that extent.
So there's one very key word that he has uttered, continuing. That's what he said right now, Mr. Krishnakumar. So can you give a message to the trade that here you are here for the long run in Vizhinjam, or this is not something that you will, after some time, you will just, drop and go somewhere else?
Hello. Yeah, it's good that you brought about Mundra, right? Fortunately, as MSc, we have a little bit of experience in running a terminal. One of the first PPP in Mundra with Adani was done by MSc. The Terminal 3 is operated jointly by MSc and Adani. So we know that place when it was dirt roads and swamps and mangroves. So we are still there. In fact, just as an information to a lot of people, the biggest port in India is not Mumbai Navsheva. The biggest port in India in terms of handling containers is Mundra. And part of it, as MSc, we alone handle 1.4 million TEUs of transshipment cargo in Mundra. So what I wanted to say it in brief is, we were one of the first ones in Mundra. We are still there. So Vizhinjam, just to extrapolate that, we will still be there. We will, because it's not just as enterprise for MSc. This is a very, very good port and terminal. I would seriously urge all the stakeholders here, customers, to visit places like Cochin Terminal, DP World, and also Vizhinjam to see the terminal for yourself, the kind of investments done by them. It's one of the best state-of-the-art semi-automatic terminal. So they have, as a port operator, they have invested a lot, and working closely with us, they have handled enough and more ships, so much so that it has given us confidence to start scheduled services from Vizhinjam connecting to Mediterranean and Africa. Just want to address one of these points, sir, about cargo going to Mundra or Nawa. As somebody managing this region, it always peeves me when I hear the cargo going all the way, spending 1 lakh rupees on a truck and going to Mumbai when we are sitting in Chennai or in Tuticorin and Vizhinjam. But I understand where they are coming from, because we also work with the buyers a lot. And the kind of pressures that the buyers put in terms of scheduled delivery, they don't mind paying 1 lakh rupees more, but when it comes to $100 more on ocean freight, it's a challenge. Anyway, that's a side note, but I'm just saying, one of the points is that when ports like Vizhinjam come, I want you all as senior members of these businesses, please take little more interest to find out how it can help you. Just for an example, I'm saying, what we have found out is a lot of the cargo from Bangalore, even Chennai and in Coimbatore that move to Mundra or Nawa to catch mother vessels, a lot of them is auto components, because they work on just in time and a lot of pressures on a particular week delivery, right? In the new service that MSC has started, we are calling some ports like Houston and Veracruz, which are direct from Colombo. So this is the reason why cargo used to go for ports like Houston or Charleston, where Mumbai and Mundra could offer, but not Colombo or Tuticorin. Now the services have changed, and we are calling those ports directly. So without having to spend 1 lakh more, you could still get almost the 3 to 5 days maximum difference in delivery. So those are all small changes that keep happening in the shipping. It's very dynamic, but with ports like Vizhinjam coming up, please see the port for yourself to understand how long-term they are going to be. Plus also the services that come up, it would actually benefit you to ship closer home rather than spending. I'm not sure if it's the right, but I would like to still take on one of these points Mr. Thirukkumaran sir said about the freight forwarders penalizing for late delivery of PO. Even though I'm in shipping now, I have some background of, I would say, consolidation and logistics. So I can tell you where it comes from, which is not correct. I completely understand as a cargo owner, it really hurts, because you're putting everything you can, working with varying parameters to get goods ready. And even if 1 or 2 trucks miss, you end up paying for that PO. Completely empathize, but I can have a detailed conversations with you on how to mitigate those costs. I'll be more than happy to share. It's not strictly shipping, but I thought I would address that point because it's a common forum, and if we can all collaborate here and exchange views to help each other, I think it will be beneficial. So we'll just take it, and I think I can work out something to assist on that, sir.
Yeah, let me bring Mr. Thirukkumaran. I mean, we all know about there is a realignment taking place in the container shipping industry in terms of alliances, where MSC will now go solo, and Maersk and Hapag-Lloyd have formed this Germany cooperation. Are you concerned about whether this will put, this will lead to, an impact on ships calling at Indian ports and, reducing capacity for people like you?
So, what I like to request Mr. Krishnakumar is he's not answered one question whether there will be a regular, as asked by Mr. Anoop, whether Vizhinjam port will have a regular European calling vessels, because that question is not.
No, he answered that.
Okay,
he said
so
that,
it will be a regular if you have, and
that.
the prices are also, as I said by Mr. Senthil, the prices are fluctuating. You cannot quote a price to a customer. Every 15 days, you never know a sword, because the freight, the connection between the liner and the freight forwarder, we are not in the picture. We are nowhere in the picture. No, see, as he has invited Mr. Krishnakumar has invited us to port. We are already having a delegation to Tuticorin port. We will definitely visit Virinjam port also, our delegation from Tirupur Exporters Association. But I would also request Mr. Krishnakumar to visit the cluster and see what potential it has and how they can support us in terms of logistics. Because again, the prices are quoted by the forwarders, not to the liners. And if they have a direct interaction with the exporters, like the association, so forwarders in between, you need forwarders. Definitely you need forwarders are the most important part of the supply chain. But we can also ensure the prices are not fluctuating, and when we quote a price, we have a lot of challenges. As rightly said by Mr. Senthil, the Tirupur exporters are all maximum micro and small. They are not very few medium. I'm a medium exporter, and there are very, very few large exporters. So there are people who do 1 crore, 2 crores, then up to 2,000 crores. So the difference is big, but the 2,000 crore and 500 crores or 200 crores are very less. So you mean to say that
their ability to negotiate better prices because of the smaller size?
Smaller sizes, because they are at their mercy of any. So as he said, we don't mind for Mundra port paying lakh rupees. We don't have a choice. Because it is the freight forwarder who is designing which port, because he is quoted a price to the customer. It's all a nominated forwarders. Mostly on FOB cargoes, it's nominated forwarders. We are at their mercy. We don't have a decision where to move or which to move. So, and the forwarding charges, it's FOB, free on board. That's a very good, beautiful word to name, because I'm being brutally honest, because it's the challenges we face. As an exporter, see, I represent a cluster where there is a lot of struggle. There is a lot of, in spite of a lot of challenges, see, we have many challenges. Efficiency when you call, we are around 20% short of labor. If anybody has if you have 50,000 people tomorrow, we can employ in Tirupur. So that much of shortage, we have to overcome a lot of challenges. So, and we are a very big cogwheel. We are one of the largest employment generators as an industry in the country. So we need to be supported, and I request all the gentlemen here who are involved in the logistic to really support this cluster, and also come and I welcome you all to come and see the cluster and see how potentially and how world-class infrastructure we do have.
How do you deal with all those? I mean, the recurring theme here is that, there's too much of a cost involved. The cost of doing business is very high in India. How do you reduce it? I mean, the government and all the center, the state governments are all working towards reducing the logistics costs. And we still talk about high costs of, exporting the cargo from here. How do you remain competitive in such a situation?
So one of the key factors I wanted to highlight is, when it comes to cost, there is the direct cost that you're paying in terms of per kilo of transportation. The other one is the time that it takes. For example, from Chennai to Brazil, there is a direct vessel which takes only about 25 days. From Tuticorin to Brazil, it takes 55 days. So the additional 30 days is 30 days delay in receiving the payments for our exports. Not only that, at least garments, a lot of buyers, they agree to take on FOB basis. But when it comes to yarn, which we export, most of the transactions are on CIF basis. Now, we can only give an estimate to the customer as to when it's going to reach. It could be anywhere between 15 days to 35 days. And sometimes, what they say 21 days, it can go up to 45 days and 60 days. And, the customers are upset. They ask us, do you choose another liner? But then there are only 6 liners left from where we can work with. So then how does an exporter really give a guarantee of time? Or should an Indian exporter say that there's no guarantee when we can deliver? Will any customer buy from us in that scenario? So yes, cost is very important, I agree. But also the commitment and the timely delivery, that plays a very crucial role. So one of the key reasons for choosing direct vessels is also I know exactly when it will reach. Today, Colombo, we don't know how many weeks it's going to roll over. And then after that it comes, yes, if I am a large customer for a particular liner, then we can, or a forwarder, we can, at least we feel we can try to arm twist and say that no, our vessel has to go first. That shouldn't be the case. Everyone should have a fair chance for the delivery of the cargo on time. So this is definitely predictability of the lead time is one of the key factors which will definitely help us reduce our cost.
There's always talk about equipment shortages in India, right? There's export-import imbalance and all of those things. And, very often this is cited as one of the reasons by the exporters of, leading to extra costs because, they don't get, empty containers on time. What is the situation here in Coimbatore regarding empty containers? Is it something that is sorted or is it still a problem?
Yeah, in fact, as I think already the fellow speakers mentioned, we do get very often, shortage, not only the recent period because of war and other things, Red Sea issue and all, but there is a very big challenge. Container shortage also is there. And also, the return leg, there are some issues that again creates shortage. That's what I mentioned when I mentioned about this. And yes, in fact, I would like to supplement what others also expressed. The mother vessel coming to Tuticorin or to Cochin port, this we have been demanding from 2007 onwards. And I think most of you might be aware that about 10,500 crores was allotted for outer harbour development of Tuticorin almost 7-8 years back. Still the work is going on and not much improvement. Even very recently we requested because we prefer Tuticorin port because of various reasons. Vizhinjam, Cochin, they are very proactive, very, very supportive, but still people in this part of the country have some reservations because of the earlier experience, at port, whether my container will be loaded or not. Let me be little frank. And that risk element nobody wants to take. Earlier we were suffering with Walayar post. Now that is not there. But still...
Those checkposts and all, the system has been abolished for a long time ago.
But still people are not confident to choose Cochin or Vizhinjam because of, any time the work might be stopped.
I think Mr. Krishnakumar, you need to take a team from Coimbatore to Vizhinjam to dispel all their concerns.
I'm getting this feedback, though it is not happening, but this is a fear.
Sorry, I think it's a valid point. See, some places have a good image, right? And some ports, unfortunately, don't have, right? So the ports that we are talking about have a problem with perception. And frankly, those perceptions are not from thin air. There is a precedence to it. There is a history to it, right? Having said that, what I would request the owners of these businesses is, please challenge those preconceived notions about, because I was just going through and I also heard that last week, the last data from the Labor Department as to the number of man hours lost, our good neighbors are not even in the top 10, and this state is number 1. Okay, so please let's get some of these preconceived notions, let's out. We don't care, as we are business people, we are nomads. Wherever there is efficiency, wherever there is cost effectiveness, we move, period, right? Yes, ideally I want motherships to come at Tuticorin. You are right, the outer harbor, people are still talking in Tuticorin about it. But should you wait till that dream is realized? Or when something is on the ground, matter of fact, ships have started coming, and people like us who have started running ships, we want your patronage, we want your support, right? It is often what you are asking, and it is just next to you, but then you're still asking, hey, please see, I'm here, I have a service. But then how long is it going to be? So I completely understand where you are all coming from, but we need to move away from it, and actually that's why I said nothing is as concrete as just seeing that port and seeing the terminal. If somebody is investing 4,000 crores, right? And lines like us are coming there. That means this is a momentous occasion. This probably a couple of years down the line, you will see the amount of business that Virinjam will do. You will see, hey, we were the first ones to support, right? So that is what I would like to say. Yes, it would be ideal if Tuticorin had motherships. In fact, Tuticorin was one of the first places in South India to have motherships to US East Coast. Most often in the discussion between cost and efficiency, what we need to forget, what I would want to stress on the fundamental thing is, as business people, as ship operators, if there is opportunity to make money, we will be there. If you are not there, we have also done our homework in terms of what is the potential in that place, right? So yes, when there is a direct ship going from Chennai to Brazil, fantastic, I'm happy. Whichever customer who has target market there, let them use it. But as a primary business person, my point is to say, hey, where does India do business with? It does business with China, it does business with Europe, it does business with USA. As a shipping community, do we have direct services covering these places? Yes, 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 85% of the cargo service is provided. But do I have a direct service to Peru? No, because there is no market. If one line wants to put it, and that line wants to bring the cargo from Delhi and north and all the way to Chennai to connect it, good for the customers, but to many lines that is not logical. But as long as that service is there, please make use of it. And there are places like this, there are ports like this which will make sense to one shipping line, but may not make sense to other shipping lines. What as a community you need to do is, you don't care whether it is shipping line A or B or C. As long as it's reliable, as long as it's predictable transit times, cost is manageable, you ship. So these words I'm not saying as part of MSC, but I'm saying from a bigger shipping community aspect. If you get a service from Chennai to Brazil, by all means, please ship it out. Right? The market from here to Brazil can only accommodate one player, or not even one player. Now they are not doing a weekly call, they are doing once in 2 weeks. That means half a shipping player. And that shipping player is number 7 in that list. So the size of the market is also small. But having said that, hats off to that shipping company for giving customers like you an option to ship directly to Brazil. If you are benefiting from it, please make use of it.
I have not yet completed. I'll take just 2 minutes. Virinjam actually, I was about to appreciate. In between, I think you made him to answer. In fact, we are now, Virinjam, we have been after it. From SIMA, I would say at least. We have been interacting with, even with Mr. Katkani. I personally met him several times. The point what I'm trying to tell is, we need transshipment facilities in Virinjam as well as in Tuticorin, and he was the one who made it. Even for now today, international cotton shippers, they can bring cotton, keep it in Virinjam as well as in Tuticorin, and they can trade to other countries, because we wanted to start our cotton transshipment facility in Colombo. But, immediately I had a call from the minister, Honorable Minister, and we went there and he immediately provided. Whatever we asked from central government, union government, they are given. Only thing is, being as repeatedly mentioned by my colleagues, we are small, micro, medium, whether we like it or not, consolidating all these people to get even the cotton transported by rail route. In fact, we tried a dedicated train about almost 10 years back from Rajkot to Coimbatore, and it didn't work because we could not collectively get the volume, to load at Rajkot and bring it here. And now I think things have shaped. This is what I wanted to compliment the shipping companies. But only one feedback from my side, whether you get immediately return or business, or you look at a long-term point of view. Now it should be a win-win strategy between all the stakeholders, either from this side or the other side. In fact, from SIMA, we had a very hardcore negotiation with all liners, a couple of years back to use our Indian national flag to bring our cotton from Gujarat to Tamil Nadu via Cochin or via Tuticorin port. In my opinion, still we have huge scope for reducing cost as well as, of course, time. We have constraints that I am not coming to that. See, we are able to bring cotton from all the way from West Africa at 50% of the cost of what we are spending to bring the cotton from Gujarat to here. This is what is happening. And the road, again, because of time, now almost all large players, they started bringing from there. And man-made fiber, already she route is preferred, whether it is polyester or viscose. Now warehouses has been created and it is going on. Going forward, my only request to all here is we have to work as a one unity, and we should have win-win strategy. We cannot look at in isolation whether I am making profit or not. Looking at our long-term business size and growth, we'll have to have some give and take policy. This is my suggestion.
Yeah. Sir, as a complementing fact of whatever Mr. Selvaraju sir had told, the thing is, we need to look at into global trade into two categories. One is pre-COVID and post-COVID. There are certain sectors which has got an opportunity post-COVID. And those sectors are mainly getting the business, whatever going for China, diverting that business and getting it to us. And even our personal experience, our all members, we work very hard to match with their customer expectation to meet the demand of whatever the Chinese price. We are struggling a lot to reach that, and we are reaching somehow. So in that, we also need the support in terms of logistics. That is cost and freight. There are two components in which the cost we are managing, the freight we need a support from the logistics side. If we could able to do that, I think in the coming days, miracles could be created in the industry for the benefit of the individual industry, for the society, for the government, for everyone, sir.
That's a huge positive, sir. I mean, you have ended on a very positive note. We can take a couple of questions from the floor. I mean, please use the opportunity if you have any doubts. You know, these learned gentlemen out here. Please go ahead.
Yeah, good that you asked this question because it's essential for Vizhinjam, if they have to do consistent service, that the cargo that comes and the services, the ships go there full out, right? So what we have as a setup is we have within us around 18 feeder ships, smaller ships that cater the cargo right from Kolkata, Haldia, Paradeep, Vizag and Gangavaram, Chennai, Tuticorin, this side Mangalore. So all this cargo will come to Vizhinjam for one or two services that are earmarked. So we are assured that every week the ships, smaller ships, the feeder vessels will ferry the cargo from those ports also and transship at Vizhinjam. So this is the model that shipping lines work when they hub the cargo at Colombo. Now this same model at a very, very smaller size will start happening at Vizhinjam. In fact, to make it a little more reliable, all these feeder vessels which I mentioned are operated by MSC itself. So it's not a third-party service that on one side the commercial team goes to the market, gets the cargo and then searches for space in the third party. So it is all MSC ships. So we know that we control the space on that. So any engagement that we have with customers in all these places for services via Vizhinjam, the customers can be assured that so-and-so mother vessel will be connected when they deliver the cargo to us at any points. This includes Tuticorin and Chennai also, sir. So there is a network of feeders which will bring cargo to Vizhinjam. It's a weekly service. It's already started since last week.
Thank you, sir. I hope that question is answered.
Anybody else? Okay. Now, you have had a very good round of discussion on this point. I think, you know, the costs, the challenges, and I hope, as Dr. Selvaraju said, all of you sit together and finalize a strategy and, you know, make it a win-win situation, especially in the backdrop of a trade war that is looming on us, with US imposing taxes and all that, it could be an opportunity for India, right? To make use of that and, make a bigger mark on the global stage. I hope you all of you would sit together and do that. Thank you very much. It's been very nice.
Thank you so much, Mr. Manoj. I request all of you to kindly be seated. We have a ceremony left again. So on that note, let's move on. And that was our first session of Cargo Connections Conclave 2025. Let's hear a loud round of applause for these gentlemen who gave a meaningful discussion today here. Before we bid goodbye to these panelists here today, I would like to invite somebody on stage to honor them with a memento. And for this, I'd like to request Mr. Ravi Shankar, CMD Triway Group, to kindly come on stage to present a memento as a token of our gratitude to these esteemed panelists who has been here today, kept some time apart from their busy schedule, accepted our invitation. So, sir, I request you to kindly come on stage to do the honors. As I call out the name, I request the panelists to step forward to receive their memento. Mr. Madhusudhan R. Thank you so much for joining us, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Next, Mr. Sendilkumar. May I request you to kindly step forward? Thank you so much for joining us, Mr. Sendilkumar. Our next panelist who would be receiving the memento is Mr. N. Thirukkumaran. Thank you so much for joining us, Mr. N. Thirukkumaran. Next, Dr. Selvaraju. May I request you to please step forward and accept this memento on behalf of India Seatrade and FIEO and for being with us today. Thank you so much. Next, may I invite Mr. Anoop VK Shroff to kindly step forward and accept a memento as a token of our gratitude, a small gift from our end. Thank you so much for joining us and sharing your insights with the audience. Mr. N. Krishnakumar, may I request you to kindly step forward. Thank you so much, Mr. Krishnakumar, for joining us today. And next, I'd like to invite our moderator of the session, Mr. Manoj, for moderating the session and also for sharing your insights. Thank you so much for joining Cargo Connections Conclave 2025. And sir, I request you to join them for a quick photograph. May I request you to please step forward, gentlemen? Ladies and gentlemen, those are the panelists of our first session of Cargo Connections Conclave 2025. On the topic, logistics as an enabler of Coimbatore's competitiveness in domestic and global markets. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for sharing your insights with us.